So, hi, this is the second session of the day. We'll be talking about research on an open cloud as opposed to things going on in the cloud. It says, okay.
Prepositions are hard.
That is a problem. Yes, it's not research on an open cloud. It's research in an open cloud, and we hope you find the talks very informative. Be kind to them. These are all our students. We've worked with them very hard on their presentations, but they haven't been doing this for years and years like some people. So anyway, to start out, we actually have a few comments from Gretchen Stewart and Hugh Brock.
Gretchen, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Gretchen Stewart from Intel. So one of the things that you heard Michael talk about earlier from Cisco, I just wanted to reiterate and then talk about a joint project that we're working on with Red Hat. So part of the reason Intel got involved in this is that we honestly do not believe that the cloud should be owned by 5 or 6 large vendors. We really do believe there should be options like Massachusetts Open Cloud, options around regional clouds, and that's part of the reason why we've invested. And as Scott really alluded to, the fact that there's an innovation option for us where we can get new products, where we can get our FPGAs, where we can look at bringing in OpenVINO and other software components that we're all working on together is exactly why we're doing it. So as a segue, Red Hat and Intel have been working really closely together to design and develop what I will call a scalable AI stack. And in doing that, some of what Dave talked about is absolutely what we're going to do. So this is a non-announcement announcement that Intel and Red Hat are putting something together that will be ultimately sitting in the MOC probably by the end of the year. And the idea really is to ensure that we can prove out that this is going to scale, and then ultimately it's something that we can have not only in the mass open cloud, but we can really create that kind of hybrid model that Dave and others were really talking about. And I'm really excited to do this. It's awesome. It's really cool. And the fact that Intel gets to be part of this working hand in hand with Red Hat is, thumbs up. So with that, I'm going to let everybody go back to what they were saying, but I at least wanted to get a little, what would I call it, press, the non-announcement announcement.
Thanks, Gretchen. And yeah, I just wanted to say what it has been. Gretchen and I have been working together on this for months, and it's been a real pleasure, and I'm just super excited about the possibility of having real AI workload capability in the MOC and in a non-proprietary stack. I think it's going to really be a game changer for all of us. So thanks to Intel. Thanks very much. Right. So research on or on top of or within or something an open cloud. That's me. That's what I'm supposed to talk about. Does that work on this? Oh. There we go. The next button. Yes, I've been a little distracted, as you might guess. Things got a little busy over the weekend. What with our acquisition of IBM. You see what I mean. Actually, I think the tie-up with IBM, assuming that it actually happens, regulatory bodies willing, and all that sort of thing. This is all about, it's about hybrid cloud. When it happens, we will be part of IBM's hybrid cloud division. And what does hybrid cloud mean? Hybrid cloud means we will be producing and shipping software that abstracts away the difference between clouds, right? What we haven't said as clearly, but I think is really implied in all of this, is that in that hybrid cloud world, we will also have to have services that can operate on any cloud or in an open cloud like the MOC, as well as infrastructure software that lets private companies operate their own thing within their own data center. And in fact, this is one of the reasons we're so interested at Red Hat, we're so interested in the MOC, is because we really do see it as an opportunity to improve what we offer to our customers and to build community around services, which is not something that anyone in the industry does well today, I don't think. Anyway, but I didn't actually come here to talk about that. I came here to talk about the Red Hat Collaboratory and what the Red Hat Collaboratory at BU is doing on the MOC, or in or amongst the MOC, I don't know. Anyway. So, what is a collaboratory? The Collaboratory at BU is in the business of funding research that we believe will be vital to open source communities and the open source software world. It is also in the business of connecting Red Hat engineers with Boston University students and researchers. Since we launched it 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, we have sponsored some really interesting projects, many of which require a cloud to run on, and many of which you will also be hearing about in the coming hours as we go through all of these projects. So that's one thing the Collaboratory does. Another thing that we do is we help support communities that are themselves engaged in doing research that requires an open cloud. The CRIS project, which many of you have heard of, I think, and which is a joint collaboration between BU, the MOC, us, and Boston Children's Hospital, is a great example of that. CRIS is designed to enable communities of researchers to work on and improve medical image processing codes in the open, in the cloud. And by the way, we have some great movies about CRIS after lunch, so you should come back and see them. Our movie people are very good at Red Hat, as it turns out. So yes, what does it have to do with the MOC? As you can see from all of the press around our acquisition of IBM, we are not just an open source company, we're a cloud company. And the future of just about all open source development and research that benefits it and benefits from it is all in the cloud. The Collaboratory, therefore, ties together all of our projects, and the thread that binds that together is actually the idea of we have to do this in the cloud. We have to do this not just on a single machine or a web server that's sitting on the internet somewhere, but actually in a cloud. Therefore, if it wasn't for the MOC, we wouldn't actually have anywhere to work, except Amazon. And Amazon is expensive, as we know. Not only are they expensive, they're, well, anyway. Or in a lot of cases, we wouldn't have anything to study. As you will see later, we are just as interested in the data that the cloud produces, log files, traces, usage information, patterns of usage, that kind of thing, as we are in the capability of the cloud to do actual work. So, projects. Let's get down to the meat of it here. These are the things that we're interested in at the Collaboratory. This does not encompass everything that goes on the MOC by any means, but it's an example of what we think is important for what we want to work on at Red Hat. Distributed systems, obviously, is important. We are in the business of shipping software that enables distributed systems, and they are hard, as it turns out. So the Pythia tracing framework you'll be hearing about, which is about just-in-time log level changes and log analysis and that kind of thing. The Linux unikernel that Ali Raza and Uli Drepper are working on is a really interesting project. And the D3N client-side caching project, all of these are Collaboratory or Collaboratory-related projects. So of course, we're also interested in hardware. Hardware in the OS. We have projects on FPGA shells, using FPGAs in the open. What can you do with an FPGA? How do you accelerate computation using one? We have projects around rack scale systems. Now the thing that Gretchen and I were just talking about, that Dave Cohen is talking about, is an example of that. We have a project, we have had interns working on for about 6 months now on a real-world open attestation server. This is the Keyline project that 2 Sigma and MIT Lincoln Labs have also been involved in. We're also interested in data governance. My boss, Chris Wright, our CTO, and I both believe very strongly that all of the issues around data governance are more important than we are giving them credit for, particularly for open source and open source development. And the base reason for this is that in the future of computing, when anything that is interesting requires a large data set to test or to use or to make a tool out of, having access to that data set, it becomes critical for any developer who wants to do anything. If all of the data in the world is locked up in a situation where you have to pay to use it, if you have to pay Google or pay Microsoft or pay Siemens to get access to data to train your model, then we are back in the 80s when we were paying Microsoft for access to their compiler. It's exactly the same problem. So we believe that open data is very, very important. Open data isn't exactly the right word, though. What I really mean is the ability to access the information that you need about a data set in order to train a model or do the other things that you need to do with data. And all of that comes out of data governance. So how do we, secure multi-party computing is a project that falls into that area. Data tagging, differential privacy is an area we're going to be working on, lots of stuff like that. And then finally, we're really interested in research on the infrastructure that enables deep learning. And some of that goes into what Gretchen and I were talking about a minute ago. The CRIS project, which you will see later, is a great example of that kind of project where we're working on building something that will enable communities to do research. So that's basically what we do. And if you want to know more about the Collaboratory and the research that we're doing and how we use the MOC to enable it, then just visit this URL or come ask me later. Thanks very much.